can't see the sky in India because it's really, really dirty, and all the dust in cities like Delhi and Bombay just rises to the sky, and so it actually looks brown. You will never see more people out on the streets than when you go to India. And it was weird for me, especially when I watched Slumdog Millionaire, and you know how they show the kids out on the street or the kids being blinded?
Yeah.
For other people, it's like, wow, that happens. But then when you actually go to India, you see that. You see kids with no limbs out on the street begging. I was about 5 or 6 when my family came to America. And my dad owns a business that he had started with my uncle at the time, and they wanted to expand to America, so we came here. I think actually the Indian stereotype is pretty accurate. Every Indian parent's goal for their kid is to have their kid become a doctor. It's actually true. The reason all of your doctors' names are Patel and Gupta is because their parents made them become a doctor. I mean, my brother works on Wall Street, and my parents still go, maybe you should still become a doctor. And they still try and convince me that that is what I'm meant to be.
First of all, I'm Hindu, and in India, Hindus are actually pretty strict, but in the US, my parents haven't really pushed that as much. I mean, my parents are both vegetarians, which is part of being Hindu, but they haven't pushed that onto me. I pray every day before I go to school and before I go to sleep. And also, before I have a test or any major assignment like finals, or I took an AP, in India we have a Swami that we go to. It's my family Swami, and so I call him. He lives in India. I call him and ask for his blessing because that's supposed to give me good luck. It's a Swami it's kind of like a priest, but also they're known to have supernatural powers. They have healing powers, but really they're extremely close to God.
Going along with the idea of the Hindu religion, what level of the caste system are you, and how did this affect the way you think about other Indians?
My mother's side of the family is the warrior caste, Kshatriya, and my dad's side is Brahmin. So Brahmin's higher than Kshatriya. But when they came to the U.S., they didn't instill like anything that like, oh, I'm better than other people because I'm a higher caste. So it doesn't really matter to me. But when I go back to India, you can definitely see it, the way my mother's family acts and the way my father's family acts towards people on the street. But I know that in my father's side of the family, in our house, we do have servants, and some of them are untouchables. And traditionally, they're supposed to be, you're not supposed to deal with them. But I think my grandfather has learned that, you know what, you can overcome that, and so he has them as servants in his house. So I guess it's small steps.
Are there any restrictions to the social aspect of being in the different castes?
Well, the thing is, they didn't meet in India. They actually met in the U.S., and then they went back to India for their wedding. But yeah, there was a lot of, I think on my father's side, there was a lot of like reservations about him marrying someone in a lower caste. And at that time, my mom had an arranged marriage too, so she argued with her parents to marry my dad. Those were basically the only things that happened, not so much caste system. My grandfather eventually got over his reservations because, you know, they had me. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of stereotypes about Indians. The main one is that, you know, like the typical math geek one. But I am good at math. I'm in calculus. But I don't try and stick to the stereotypes. I do things that most Indians wouldn't. I mean, one of the stereotypes is that we're not athletic. I play basketball, I play a lot of sports. And also, I rap, which is not an Indian thing.
Would you care to give us a rap?
From my soul to my heart, from the ending to the start, in between, it's an art, and I live it. From one person to the next, all respect, no regrets. If you next, you got it, then give it. Share a hug, share the love, we can rise up above, and we try, we can fly to the heaven.
Both my grandparents on both sides were both arranged marriages. However, my parents kind of broke away from that, which was a very risky thing to do. I mean, you hear the family stories and you know that there was some tension. My mom being from Bihar, which is a state east of Delhi, and my dad being from Delhi himself, there was always a little slight tension between the two families, but there was a love marriage. They both met when my dad was in IIT Delhi and my mom was in LSR, which was a school also in Delhi. And so they both did get a love marriage. During the next 10, 15 years, you're going to see a very strong bond grow between America and India because of, some of the ideals that they share, democracy, equality, so on and so forth. And though India is not as perfect as it is here, there's much more bribery there and so on and so forth, there are some cultural similarities between the two countries that stem from its constitution and so on and so forth, which we're going to see play a big role in the America-India relationship. I mean, being students here at Lawrenceville, it's tough for us to kind of know what's going on all the way in India, but I think one of the driving factors and one of the, events that are going to really shape India in the next 5 to 10 years is going to be a general election that's going on right now. India has an election, I believe, every 5 years. So the last one was in 2004, and this one's going to be in 2009. And talking to my grandparents a lot, they keep sending me emails on what's going on in the election. So can you imagine just 1 billion people, voting? It's kind of ridiculous. They have it in 5 different days. And there's 2 main parties. There's Congress, which is more of what we associate as the Democratic Party, and there's the BJP, which is what we associate as the Republican Party, so to speak. And then there's the 10% that always votes the communists. And what are you going to do? And so it's going to be really interesting, not who wins, not exactly how the parliament is divvied up, but what are they talking about right now? For the first time since India's state of emergency in the 70s, people are talking about population is a major problem. We need to fix this population crisis. We need to reward those that only have 1 kid. That's something that wasn't talked about in 2004 and 1999. And, we have to talk about how are we going to put our, students in an international market so they can get jobs and they can compete with people elsewhere. That wasn't talked about in 2004 and 1999. And so at the end of the day, Congress has, a majority, and they might get a majority again. BJP might be the opposers. But what they're talking about and how that's changing is based on, nuclear plans, education, population, anything is really going to dictate how India moves in the next 5 to 10 years. And something that you guys should really see how it turns out. Read some news about what's going on, because that's going to be a pivotal part of India's modern adventure.
I'm a junior in the Griswold House, and I'm from Parkersburg, West Virginia. I consider myself a Hindu, and the problem is living in West Virginia, it's very hard to find time to practice it. There are very few temples in West Virginia. I'd say only in Charleston, which is about an hour away, and then only in Ohio, which is about 2 hours away. So I find it very difficult to really be able to practice it where I live. But luckily, coming here, I know there's puja services offered and such. But it's very, very difficult when you're living in a community that's 95% white to find, time and others to really participate in the religion with. I can do an Indian accent. Yes, I can. You're not putting that on tape. I'm doing it right now, but you're not gonna put it there. Or you better pay me for it. Like, come on. I'm serious. So this is at school meeting. I'm kidding you. Really. I'm serious. Whatever. You're gonna put it there. I'm on terms with it.